The night before reuniting with my billionaire parents, my childhood friend insisted I wear his family's heirloom jade bracelet. Just as I was about to accept, a barrage of comments appeared before my eyes. It's finally time for the male lead to use the system to swap identities with the cannon fodder female supporting character. From now on, the male lead will become the true young master of the billionaire family, the male lead returns to his family tomorrow, and the day after, he falls in love with the sister at first sight. What follows is a forbidden pseudo-sibling romance. I really wish the plot would fast forward, why won't the cannon fodder female second accept it? Is it because she doesn't want the male lead to switch identities and is trying to block him from living a good life? How malicious. In my past life, I trusted the barrage comments and refused the bracelet from my childhood friend, becoming the eldest daughter of the wealthiest family, but my childhood friend flew into a rage and stabbed me 99 times on the day of my Tsinghua University celebration banquet. If you hadn't refused to switch identities with me, how could Xiaoyu have ended up with Su Jinji? How could a sickly person like him ever be worthy of Xiaoyu, the son of the richest man should have been me, and the one engaged to Xiaoyu should have been me too, so he wanted to switch identities with me because he had fallen for the fake heiress, Suyu now. Seeing the barrage of comments again, I immediately put on the bracelet. The Su family's den of jackals can be left to that idiot Zhao Shuani. This time, I'm really going to college. Seeing me put on the bracelet, a flicker of joy passed through Zhao Shuani's eyes, and he couldn't help but remind me, Sheng, this bracelet can protect your safety. You must never take it off. It's my birthday gift to you, and I hope you'll wear it always. I sneered inwardly. What kind of bracelet could bring peace and safety? It was just an excuse he used to try to exchange for my identity as the daughter of the wealthiest family. It was my birthday on this day in my past life, because I refused to drop out of school to earn money for my lazy, good-for-nothing brother to retake the college entrance exam. My furious parents beat me severely and locked me in a cold, pitch-black room. It was at this moment that Zhao Shuani appeared. He climbed over the wall into the courtyard, bringing a piece of egg cake and saying he was here to celebrate my birthday. She even took out her own grandmother's bracelet and insisted on putting it on me without any explanation. At that moment, I was deeply moved, feeling that someone still loved me, until I saw the bullet text above his head. We've finally reached the part where the male lead uses the system to swap identities with the cannon fodder female second lead. After midnight, the male lead will become the true young master of the wealthiest family. The male lead will return to his ancestral roots tomorrow, and the day after, he will fall in love with the sister at first sight, followed by a forbidden pseudo-sibling romance. I really wish the plot would fast forward. I just found out that I am not a poor girl from the lower streets, but the true heiress of the wealthiest family in the city, who was mistakenly swapped at birth. In my previous life, the opportunity to change my fate was right before my eyes, and I naturally rejected my childhood friends' birthday gift. The very next day, as expected, the wealthiest family recognized me and took me back. From then on, the ugly duckling turned into a white swan, forever leaving behind the dirty and dim slums. Back at my biological parents' home, I didn't forget to give Zhao Shuani a helping hand, freeing him from his parasitic uncle's family and letting us shine, thrive, and prosper together. I treated him with genuine sincerity, but he harbored resentment toward me after the fake heiress became engaged to the true young master. On the day of my celebration for getting into Tsinghua and Peking University, he stabbed me 99 times, causing my tragic death. Just after that day, I could have left the oppressive Su family and embraced my own bright and beautiful future. All of this was ruined by Zhao Shuani. Fortunately, heaven took pity on me, and I was reborn. This time, I will not hinder Zhao Shuani from taking my identity. Since he is so fond of the Su family's den of wolves, he can keep it. But I must avenge the grievances of my past life. The next day, when I woke up, the room I was in had changed from my foster parents' basement to Zhao Shuani's bedroom, which had a small window. I know my identity has been swapped out by Zhao Shuani. Stupid girl, sleeping. What time is it already? Hurry up and pack your things. The bus heading south is about to leave. The sharp-tongued woman pushed the door open, grabbed my shoulders, and roughly dragged me out of bed. Aunt, what are you talking about? I couldn't make sense of the situation and could only play dumb to get by. The aunt screamed, you little wretch, you promised to drop out of school and work in the factory to earn a down payment for your cousin. Are you going back on your word again? I've already taken the referral fee, you'd better go to work honestly. I was thin and weak, dragged by my aunt all the way to the yard, while she kept cursing and scolding. Zhao Shuani, who had taken my place, stood outside the yard, looking at me with a smug expression. The barrage above his head was scrolling frantically. Ha ha ha, the cannon fodder female lead still doesn't know that the male lead's aunt introduced her to a shady factory. She won't survive 2 months before accidentally falling into a mixer, crushed to pieces, with no intact body left, our dear male lead is truly clever. To get rid of the cannon fodder female lead, he dropped out of school early at home, cutting off her path to education. So she'll forever live like an ant. I clenched the hem of my clothes, glaring at him with hatred. There was still 1 month until the high school entrance exam. Even if our identities were swapped, I could still get into a good high school, work hard for 3 more years, and get back into the prestigious Tsinghua or Peking University from my past life. I never imagined Zhao Shuani hated me to such an extent. He took my identity, yet still wanted to cut off my future and ruin my life, he told me. To accept my fate, but I'm determined to carve out my own path to success soon. A familiar black car pulled into the mouth of the alley. Just like in my past life, Zhao Shuani was taken away by the Su family. My aunt sneered viciously. What are you staring at? Shuani is the long-lost young master of the wealthiest family. How dare a lowly girl like you still cling to your past ties with him? Shameless. Hurry up and get to the bus station. I turned around, holding her gaze, and said, Aunt, I have a way to help my cousin earn a 100,000 down payment, but you must go to the school and reinstate my student status. My aunt looked me up and down with disdain. What skills do you have? Earn 100,000? Your uncle can't even make 100,000 in a year. What nonsense are you talking about? Are you just trying to avoid working and making excuses to brush me off? I ran back to my room, dug out a flyer from a prestigious high school recruiting students from poor families, and pointed to the line at the bottom. Aunt, as long as I get into Noble High School I'll receive a 100,000 scholarship. With that money, you'll be able to afford the down payment for my cousin's wedding house. My aunt was tempted. She knew my grades were excellent, but she was afraid I might run away secretly if I went to the provincial capital. She said my cousin should accompany me. I breathed a sigh of relief. The matter of schooling was finally settled. When I returned with my cousin, holding the admission letter from the prestigious school, I learned that my adoptive parents' house next door had been burned down. Upon asking, I found out that my alcoholic adoptive father had accidentally set the curtains on fire, burning down the house. Looking at the charred remains of the house, I coldly closed the door. I handed the 100,000 yuan bank card to my aunt, and only then did she give me the re-enrollment notice. Holding the thin re-enrollment notice, I finally felt at ease and could continue my studies. In the high school entrance exam, I achieved the top score in the city and the third in the province. Declining the invitation from the city's top high school, I took my admission letter and headed to the provincial capital. When I walked into class 666 wearing my navy blue pleated skirt school uniform, I unsurprisingly met Zhao Shuani's incredulous eyes. How did the cannon fodder female supporting character get in here? Shouldn't she be working illegally in a sweatshop? The plot is messed up, don't panic, the male lead has already swapped the identity of the female supporting character with the heiress of the richest family. She can never take away the male lead's identity. But is this elite school a charity? They're letting in all sorts of riffraff. What a nuisance. Our male lead has finally escaped his dirty past, and now with the arrival of the cannon fodder female second lead, he's about to be hurt again. Get lost, you poor woman. Zhao Shuani wears a $1 million Patek Philippe watch on his wrist and tens of thousands of dollars worth of Italian handmade leather shoes on his feet. His dry hair is styled by a professional, and he now exudes the aura of an upper-class young master. No one would ever guess that just a few months ago, he was a poor boy selling ice pops on the lower streets. He looks at me nervously, afraid that I might recognize him and expose his shameful past. In my previous life, I also entered Noble First High School, and at his request, I arranged for him to be in the same class. But on his very first day in class, he spread far and wide the story of how I used to sing and smile for money in the past, and so began my days of being bullied. The Su family also became the laughingstock of the noble families because of me. I was stripped naked and forced to kneel in the Su family's basement, brutally whipped with a spiked rod. That time, my right hand was broken, and even the slightest attempt to write would cause excruciating pain. Now I glanced at him lightly and was taken by the teacher to the last row, and my new deskmate turned out to be the fake heiress, Suyu. She was beautiful and gentle, giving me a lovely smile when she saw me, her eyes sparkling. After class, Zhao Shuani pulled me into the storage room next door and said impatiently, "Go find the teacher and drop out right now. This isn't the school for you. Did you go to the Su family and get into that elite school through my connections? Shang, where's your pride? Weren't you the one who never accepted handouts? Why now, seeing my wealth, are you so eager to cling to me just to grab some benefits for yourself? Withdraw from school yourself. Don't make me look down on you. What's all this nonsense you're spouting? I can't understand a word." Let's start with a slap. I slapped Zhao Shuani across the face. "Zhao Shuani, we grew up together, Barast. I know exactly what dumpling filling you ate just from the sound of your fart. You want me to drop out because you're afraid I'll expose the fact that you used to live in the slums, right? Don't think that just because you've stuck a few feathers in your tail, you're a phoenix now. I got into this school through my own hard work. Why should I drop out?" Zhao Shuani was furious, but his tone was coaxing. Shang, I'm doing this for your own good. The school is full of rich second-generation kids. Our circle, its rules and ways of playing, are completely different from the lower streets. You'll only suffer here. Do you understand? At that moment, the barrage of comments began to scroll wildly. The male lead is so kind-hearted, remembering their childhood friendship and wanting the female second lead to leave the school. So charming. The second female lead is so ungrateful, actually trying to use connections with the richest man to get into school. Disgusting. I curled my lips and refused. "I won't drop out. You're worrying too much." Zhao Shuani's feigned patience ran out. He kicked the table in frustration and threatened, "Fine, don't be ungrateful." Soon, I understood what Zhao Shuani meant by "don't be ungrateful." He hired someone specifically to bully me the first time. He had someone falsely accuse me of stealing a classmate's Patek Philippe watch and demanded the school expel me. But he forgot that every student's lounge has surveillance cameras. The video clearly showed that it was the slanderer who stole the watch and slipped it into my bag. I was completely unharmed, and the slanderer was expelled from school the second time. He bribed my roommate to lock me out of the dorm and prevent me from sleeping. In response, I reported his company for tax evasion and got him expelled from the school the third time. During the monthly exam, he had someone lock me in the bathroom and pour a bucket of ice water on me to stop me from taking the test. At Noble First High School, the rule was that any student who scored 0 on the monthly exam would be expelled. He wanted to use this method to force me out of the school, but I climbed through a window and scaled a wall with my bare hands, successfully entering the exam hall before the test began. In the first monthly exam, I secured the top spot in the grade with a perfect score. While Zhao Shuani fell out of the top 50, the Su family was very dissatisfied with his results. Unsurprisingly, he received a merciless beating from his father, Mr. Su. For days, he wore high-collared clothes, with an unmistakable weariness in his eyes, but he deserved all of it. I meticulously listed out each incident of Zhao Shuani bribing people to bully me, compiled them into a document, and planned to send it via email to the Su family's arch-rival. The homeroom teacher called me into the office with a serious expression. Just as I pushed open the office door, my aunt rushed over, trying to slap me. I dodged, and she pointed at my nose, shouting, "You wretched girl, Shuani has become the son of the wealthiest family, and instead of helping the family get some benefits, you actually pulled strings to get yourself into a noble school. Are you trying to follow in your prostitute mother's footsteps and hook a rich second-generation heir? Our family has no such unfilial descendant like you. Drop out now and come home to work." The homeroom teacher, knowing my monthly exam results, couldn't help but say, "Classmate Yao Sheng has excellent grades and will surely be able to get into Tsinghua or Peking University in 3 years, or apply to universities abroad. Parents shouldn't cut off their child's future." Pa, Aunt spat out a mouthful of phlegm. "Her grades must have been cheated. Why are you defending her so much? Could it be that you're one of her clients? She's just a worthless piece of trash, not cut out for studying." As her aunt, don't I know what kind of person she is? Expel her immediately. The homeroom teacher, a recent male graduate, was so angered by the aunt's vulgar words that he began to stammer. Zhao Shuani also chimed in from the side, "Principal Wang, I don't know how Yao Sheng managed to secure our family's sponsorship to get into No. 1 high school, but as you can see now, she only came here to chase after rich second-generation heirs. Clearly, she's not suited to continue studying at one high school. With that, he gave me a disdainful glance and tossed out a stack of highly suggestive photos. In the photos, I was dressed plainly, stepping out of a luxury car with a middle-aged man in lavish clothing, and we entered a hotel together. Look, Jiao Sheng used the school's reputation to cozy up to a wealthy man. She's tarnishing the school's image. Someone like her shouldn't be allowed at this school. Upon seeing the photos, the homeroom teacher, who had initially intended to speak up for me, fell silent. Her gaze toward me now held a hint of disappointment and frustration. Isn't that just saying I'm being kept? I rolled my eyes speechlessly. I glanced at the photo. Wasn't that from the weekend when I was invited to the hotel to discuss the stock market? No wonder I felt like someone was following me back then. It turns out it was Zhao Shuani's doing. Zhao Shuani continued to berate me. I am now representing the Su family in suspending the financial support for student Yao Sheng. Yao Sheng, to save yourself some dignity, you should voluntarily withdraw from school. Given that we've known each other, I don't want to expose your disgraceful deeds to everyone. The barrage of comments was now scrolling frantically. The female supporting character has finally been taken down this time. Hurry back to the slums, so young and seducing an old man. How disgusting, what a slut. The male lead baby is so clever. He had someone follow the female lead's rival and discovered she was being kept, then paid the aunt to come to the school and make a scene. Once the rival drops out, she'll be beaten and sold by her greedy aunt to a 60-year-old crippled old man. He. The male lead baby is so gentle in the end. He left the female lead with some dignity. As long as she drops out, he won't release these photos. How gentlemanly. I glanced at the hypocritical Zhao Shuani, then swept my eyes over the large gold bracelet on my aunt's wrist and sneered. You're slandering me. My relationship with that gentleman is completely innocent. I'm going to call the police now. I suspect all of this is a setup by classmate Zhao and my aunt to frame me. You're slandering a minor student. At that moment, the principal's assistant, who was checking my enrollment information, timidly raised her hand and said, Principal, the tuition and various fees for Yao Sheng were not funded by the Su Group. The money came from a foreign bank. Zhao Shuani's smug expression froze. He pushed the assistant aside and stared intently at the computer screen. Impossible, I sneered coldly. Zhao Shuani, I told you I got into one high school on my own merit. If you insist on believing I used your family's connections, I'm not a fly that enjoys eating shit. You spare no effort in slandering me. What are you afraid of? Afraid I'll expose you. Before I could finish, Zhao Shuani raised his voice and cut me off. This year, Yizhong's entrance exam for underprivileged students was in April. There's no way you could have gotten in through the exam. Foreign banks. I see. Yao Sheng, you didn't accept my family's financial support because you're being kept by an older man, right? Aren't there a lot of perverts nowadays who like to secretly keep female students? Yao Sheng, you're so despicable. To get into a prestigious school, you actually sold your body. Principal, I think you should expel her right now. The aunt chimed in as well. Yes, Principal, you should expel that little tramp right now. She has terrible morals and doesn't deserve to study. The principal was still hesitating, but Zhao Shuani used the Su family's funding to silence him. Principal Wang, my father is planning to donate 3 million to the school next quarter. Are you really sure you want to tolerate a student with a scandal? Besides, she's just a poor wretch. Without a man supporting her, how could she afford to attend a prestigious school? Principal, don't be foolish. Principal Wang's wavering heart stopped at Zhao Shuani's words. He took out the prepared withdrawal application form and was about to stamp it. Seeing the vice principal's action, I quickly stopped him. Principal, are you going to expel me based on just a few photos and some twisted words? That's so unfair. I've already called the police. Why not wait until they arrive before making a decision? Zhao Shuani snatched the stamp from the principal's hand, pressed it down, and threw the application form at me, saying smugly, Yao Sheng, hurry up and go back with your aunt. You've been expelled. My aunt beamed with joy and tried to pull me away, but just then, the door was pushed open, and a woman with fiery red, wavy hair and towering high heels walked in gracefully. She pulled me behind her, sneering at the vice principal. Wang Dehai, do you dare to expel my person? You, a dignified vice principal, are being led around by a wet-behind-thy-ears kid. Aren't you ashamed? Does your Wang family no longer want the land in West City? Principal Wang, having been called out by name, immediately shifted the blame. Miss Chen, this wasn't my decision, it was all forced on me by student Zhao, I never agreed to it. Standing behind the woman, I snorted coldly, you may not have agreed, but the withdrawal application was already written and just waiting to be stamped. Wasn't it? What a slick way to shift the blame. After Zhao Shuani was recognized by the Su family, he was taken to attend a banquet of high society. The woman before him was none other than the daughter of the Chen family, which was slightly inferior to the Su family. After comparing their respective statuses, Zhao Shuani regained his confidence and said without hesitation, Miss Chen, your family is merely a second-rate clan, and you still dare to offend my family. I advise you not to oppose me. For the sake of Yao Sheng, otherwise, I'll have my father terminate the projects with the Chen family. You can't bear the consequences of that, can you? Miss Chen turned to look at the newcomer and said sarcastically, young Master Su, your brother certainly puts on quite the airs. Since your Su family looks down on cooperating with my family, I think our joint projects should end here. The eldest son of the Su family, Su Jinji, walked into the office with a grim expression and slapped Zhao Shuani across the face. Worthless, Zhao Shuani covered his swollen face, daring to be angry but not daring to speak. With a lingering fear of Su Jinji hidden in his eyes, I lowered my gaze, unable to help but recall how in my past life, whenever I made a mistake in the Su family, Su Jinji would look at me with eyes full of contempt, raise his hand, and slap me, all under the guise of brotherly guidance. Now, Zhao Shuani has taken my place, and Su Jinji treats him exactly as he treated me. In the past, Zhao Shuani must have long since come to hate him. Miss Chen, however, waved her hand dismissively. No need, seeing how your Su family conducts itself, I think it's best to end the collaboration between our two families. I wouldn't want to be slandered or framed by your family someday. I simply cannot bring myself to do anything that would harm the Chen family's interests. After speaking, she secretly winked at me. Su Jinji still wanted to persuade her to stay, but all he received was Miss Chen's refusal. After leaving the principal's office, Miss Chen dropped her overbearing demeanor and said, Little Gao, I've taken on the pressure from the board to cut ties with the Su family's collaboration. Following the proposal you provided, I've already had someone bid for the land in the eastern part of the city. Don't let us down. I smiled faintly. Mr. Chen, once the results of the bidding project come out next week, you will naturally get what you wish for. I did indeed test into the elite high school, but it was through the Chen family's connections. Under the pretext of taking the exam, I went to the provincial capital ahead of time, but in reality, I used my memories from my past life to capture evidence of the Bai family's scheme to forge bidding documents. With this stepping stone, the Chen family did not bid on that piece of land with excessive heavy metal content, and I gained Miss Chen's appreciation as a result. She recommended me to take the entrance exam for the elite high school. The 100,000 yuan I brought back to my aunt's house was also given to me by Miss Chen. While interacting with Miss Chen, I also casually shared some insights about the stock market. Using my experience from my past life, I helped her make several precise trades, which brought her substantial profits and greatly boosted the reputation of the Chen family, who had just entered the Tian City market. I went from being a somewhat valuable student to a potential stock highly regarded by the Chen family. I also used the Chen family as a stepping stone to build a considerable network of connections. In return, when I decided to target the Su family, I sent the collected incriminating information about the Su family to Miss Chen. This led the Chen family to sever their cooperation with the Su family. Miss Chen, satisfied with the information she received from me, left after leaving a lawyer behind. Watching her retreating figure, I was reminded of my past life, when she shielded me from insults and beatings at the Su family banquet. She was the only warmth I felt after experiencing the fickleness of human relationships. She helped me, and in this lifetime, I will help her too. I went to the police station to cooperate with the investigation. Zhao Shuani left easily because of the Su family, but Auntie was in trouble. The police found in her phone that she had contacted human traffickers, intending to sell me for 200,000 yuan. Now that it involved human trafficking, she was going to jail. She tried to drag Zhao Shuani into it by making wild accusations, but after Zhao Shuani mentioned her cousin's name, her aunt's eyes reddened as she endured everything. After spending half a day at the police station, a storm of controversy erupted online. The damaging information about the Su family that I had sent to their rival was exposed on the internet. Hashtag Su family construction cuts corners. Hashtag Su family company withholds workers' wages. Hashtag young master Su's. Bullying hashtag surged to the top of the trending list. Su Jinji, whose heart was already in poor condition, couldn't catch his breath upon seeing the rampant rumors online and collapsed unconscious at the entrance of the police station. The Chin family lawyer escorted me back to school. As soon as I stepped into the grove, I saw young Master Wang grabbing Su Yu, with several of his followers surrounding them. I frowned and quickly stepped forward, pulling Su Yu behind me. Wang Yang was just about to order his lackeys to teach me a lesson when he froze upon seeing his father's phone number on my screen. Classmate Xiao Gao, what brings you the time to call me today? You did agree to come to the company as a consultant last time, didn't you? No matter how much Wang Yang misbehaved at school, he adhered to one principle: never let things escalate to his father. But now, with his father's voice sounding so ingratiating, Wang Yang dared not act recklessly and reluctantly led his people away. I casually brushed off the conversation with a few words and hung up the phone. Su Yu tugged at the corner of my clothes, her eyes red and teary. Shang, are you okay? Everyone said you were taken to the police station. I was so worried about you. Su Yu is very beautiful, and there are many people both inside and outside her family who like her. Even Su Jinji harbors different feelings for this younger sister. I replied, I'm fine. How long has he been harassing you? Stay away from him from now on. That kind of guy is no good. Su Yu's eyes welled up with gratitude. Shang, you're so kind. If he bothers me again in the future, can I come to you for help? I nodded, looking at her beautiful face. My heart was filled with mixed emotions. She was the mistaken fake heiress. In my past life, after I returned to the Su family, I held some resentment toward her. I hate her for taking my place, hate her for making my first 18 years humble and painful. But after being brought back to the Su family, I also saw her struggles. Because the heart donor was not a match for Su Jinji, she grew up under the cold gaze of the Su couple. She was not allowed to have her own preferences, taught from a young age how to apply makeup and dress up, molded into a tool for a marriage alliance. From the age of 10, she was pushed by her father to attend various banquets. At her blooming age, her face was painted with makeup, yet her eyes revealed a calmness that did not belong to a young girl. On her first day back at the Su family, she was punished by her mother for wearing mismatched clothing colors, forced to kneel in the scorching sun in the courtyard with a bowl of water balanced on her head. Even growing up in such an environment, she still maintained a kind heart. When I was insulted and punished by Su Jinji, she would suppress her fear and plead for me. I was locked up and starved by Father Su, and she would secretly bring me food. In this lifetime, when my identity was stolen by Zhao Shuani and he bribed my roommate to keep me out of the dormitory, she was the one who offered to let me sleep in her room. She also helped me gather evidence to uncover those who bullied me. She was so kind and good-hearted, treating me like a sister, like a friend. She also helped calm the resentment in my heart. And that Wang Yang, I clearly remember he was deliberately brought in by Su Jinji to specifically pester Su Yu, so that he himself could play the hero saving the beauty, in order to firmly control Su Yu. In my previous life, I accidentally discovered Su Jinji's dirty intentions towards Su Yu and had quietly warned her about it. Unfortunately, after discovering that Su Yu had the intention of leaving the Su family, Su Jinji framed Su Yu for drugging him and climbing into his bed, forcing Su Yu to drop out of school, making her his personal canary. And that engagement ceremony that broke Zhao Shuani's heart was nothing more than a show put on by the Su family to cover up the scandal. In my previous life, until the day I died, Su Yu was imprisoned by Su Jinji in a separate courtyard, never appearing in public again. In this life, I want to protect her, so I must first destroy the Su family. I took Su Yu back to her dorm and found that my belongings were actually here too. Upon asking, I learned that my original dorm had collectively petitioned the dorm supervisor to have me moved out. None of the other dorm residents were willing to let a poor person like me stay with them. Only Su Yu didn't mind me and took the initiative to move my things into her dorm. The Su family's affairs were settled with money by Mr. and Mrs. Su, but their qualification to bid for the land in the East City was revoked, rendering all their previous efforts in vain. Not only that, but they also lost several major contracts to their arch-rivals, and the company saw many of its talents poached. Su Jinji was so overwhelmed with anger that he was hospitalized. Upon learning this, Su's parents, who doted on their son, immediately blamed Zhao Shuani and forced him to take leave to personally attend to Su Jinji in the hospital. Following the advice of some fortune teller, the Su couple believed Zhao Shuani was a harbinger of misfortune and forced him to kneel and kowtow, climbing 1,000 steps to pray for Su Jinji's recovery. This prayer scene was captured by many onlookers from the market and posted online, where it was mercilessly mocked. In the video, Zhao Shuani looked haggard and disheveled, with a bruised forehead from the kowtowing, and 2 bodyguards were specifically assigned to supervise him behind his back, but this was far from enough. In his previous life, Zhao Shuani used my connections to get into the prestigious No. 1 high school, where he secretly spread rumors to the Su couple about my chaotic private life at school, cheating on exams, and abusing power. Because of these things, I was often beaten and confined. These truths were only boastfully whispered in my ear by him just before I died, so I added fuel to the fire by anonymously exposing his dark history, how he bullied others by leveraging his status after returning to the Su family, led the bullying of students, and violated rules and regulations. Soon, many netizens joined the fight. Zhao Shuani became a malicious young master that everyone wanted to beat. All of this was coldly observed by the Su couple, who believed that Zhao Shuani had brought it upon himself, especially since his scandals could help divert attention away from the Su family. It wasn't until Su Jinji woke up that they reluctantly allowed Zhao Shuani to return to school. Zhao Shuani, returning to school, looked gaunt and pale, with a clear bruise on his forehead. The arrogance that once shone in his eyes was gone, replaced instead by a flicker of hatred. The barrage above his head kept expressing sympathy for him. The villainous older brother, a short-lived wretch, actually dares to bully our male lead baby. Disgusting, infuriating, the billionaire parents are also blind. Our male lead baby suffered so much before being found, yet they favor a sickly child. It caused our male lead baby to get hurt, It's okay, the male lead baby has a golden finger system with 3 exchanges. Although he swapped away the identity of the female lead son of the richest family, he still has 2 chances left. In 3 months, there will be a major stock market event. As long as the male lead baby exchanges for the golden finger of stock market investment, he can help his billionaire parents gain 10 billion in profits. He'll also be sought after by multiple big shots to be their godson, and he'll even help his billionaire parents replace the villainous older brother as the heir. Zhao Shuani covered his head, his expression inexplicably softening. The barrage above his head boiled over again when they saw me. Damn, it's all the fault of the cannon fodder female lead, who told her not to tell the truth. If she had admitted earlier that she got into the school with the Chin family's sponsorship, the male lead baby wouldn't have been cyberbullied. What a selfish and shameless bitch. +1, how ridiculous. The perpetrator blames the victim. These high and mighty comments selectively ignore that I am the one who was bullied. The male lead they call baby is nothing but a thief who stole someone else's life through despicable means. Siyu handed me a carton of strawberry-flavored milk and said, Sheng, here you go. The finance class is about to start. I've already saved a seat for you. Let's go. During this period, my relationship with Siyu has progressed rapidly, especially after moving into her dormitory. Her personality has become increasingly cheerful. Since Su Jinji is hospitalized and temporarily unable to manage Wang Yang, I used a little trick to expose all the disgraceful things Wang Yang has done over the years to his father. Now the disgusting guy has been sent abroad by Mr. Wang, and no one bothers Siyu anymore. When the barrage saw Siyu being intimate with me, it immediately exploded. My dear daughter, how did you become friends with the cannon fodder female supporting character? Your true love is right in front of you. Hurry up and leave the cannon fodder female supporting character. My dear daughter, it's all the fault of the cannon fodder female supporting character. If she hadn't caused trouble, the male lead wouldn't have had to stay in the hospital and couldn't properly build a relationship with my dear daughter, exactly. Look how sad the male lead is. Hurry up, male lead baby, go tell the female lead your difficulties. She loves a fragile little puppy the most. Zhao Shuani stepped forward, wanting to grab Suyu's hand. Xiaoyu, don't be friends with Yao Sheng, she's not worthy of you. Come to your second brother. Suyu hid behind me fearfully and said, Second brother, this is a school, don't get physical. Sheng is fine, stop talking, the trouble you've caused is too embarrassing. After saying that, she took me and left, while Zhao Shuani's agonized roar echoed behind us. Xiaoyu, you look down on me, you don't want me either, everything online is fake. don't believe it. In addition to traditional academic subjects, Noble First High School also offers numerous courses related to finance. This time, the school was introduced to and hired a female trader known as the Wolf of Wall Street to serve as the instructor for the stock market trading course. Every student enrolled in Noble First High School comes from an extraordinary family background. Having grown up around their parents, they have all picked up a thing or two through exposure, except for Zhao Shuani, as the recently discovered true heir of the Su family. Even though he had studied intensively in private, he was still completely clueless when faced with K-line charts and fund portfolios. Zhao Shuani stayed in the corner, his face pale as he listened to his classmates' mockery. The barrage of comments above his head were all giving him advice. Don't be angry, baby protagonist, your chance to prove them wrong is here. I heard that teacher helped several major companies in M country with their operations, and the returns were super high. Quickly use your exchange ability to swap for the teacher's operational skills. Yes, yes, yes. 3 months later, with the teacher's operational skills, baby protagonist, you'll punch your biased parents, kick your sickly older brother, hold your dear daughter in your left arm, be recognized as a godson by various big shots, and thoroughly slap those who look down on you in the face. So satisfying, so thrilling. Go for it, baby boy, charge. When those bullet comments about the teacher's trading abilities appeared, I saw Zhao Shuani's originally angry expression miraculously relax, with a hint of pride flashing in his eyes. Oh, it seems Zhao Shuani can see the bullet comments. Unfortunately, these bullet comments don't know that this Wall Street wolf's trading abilities were all built on the skills of her secret lover. In my previous life, my talent for stock trading was discovered by a trader, who took me under his wing and taught me how to navigate the stock market. At that stock market conference, I successfully made a name for myself, and my earnings grew higher with each success. It was also at that time that the Su family recognized my value and began to change their plans for me to marry for alliance. They brought in many mentors to teach me day and night, hoping I would bring greater profits to the Su family. It was also during that period that I learned the story of the Wolf of Wall Street. At this point, she was probably already at odds with her secret lover. 3 months later, that lover would expose her actions, revealing her to be an empty-headed, deceitful fool. What Zhao Shuani had gained was not some face-slapping ability, but a ticking time bomb. Zhao Shuani's efforts were not going smoothly. He repeatedly made excuses to send gifts and asked the lecturer to give him private guidance, but the lecturer always brushed him off. Only I know that everything the lecturer talked about was content that had been analyzed and reconstructed from her past successful operations. That's all she has to rely on. If she were to tutor Zhao Shuani alone, wouldn't it expose the truth that she actually knows nothing? There are only 3 days left until the stock market event, and Zhao Shuani still hasn't acquired the lecturer's abilities. Starting to feel a bit anxious, I was also a bit anxious, so I quietly helped Zhao Shuani by revealing that the lecturer's birthday is on Saturday. Zhao Shuani gave the lecturer a 200 yuan bracelet on the day of the lecturer's birthday party, claiming it was a lucky crystal. In front of many guests, the lecturer had no choice but to awkwardly put it on. Zhao Shuani stayed at the birthday party until midnight, only leaving after confirming that the exchange had been successful. At Monday's stock market investment meeting, he confidently followed the Su family's manager and traders to the scene. I sat not far away, watching Zhao Shuani take his seat alongside the Su family's trader. The Su couple, due to their eldest son's discharge from the hospital, only sent their manager to attend. Zhao Shuani appeared to be in full control of the situation. Within the first hour of trading, a few moves by the Su family's trader brought a profit of 10 million to their account. Zhao Shuani felt he had mastered the skills of stock trading and privately bet the 100 million in the account on a single stock. This stock surged dramatically, leaving other stock prices far behind. Seeing the screen filled with soaring green numbers, Zhao Shuani revealed a smug smile. The barrage of comments wildly praised him. The male lead baby is possessed by the Wolf of Wall Street. Make those who look down on you eat their words. Wow, look, even the tech tycoon across the way has noticed our male lead baby. Male lead baby, your big shot is here. Hehehe. This is the male lead baby's true strength. Sitting not far away, I couldn't help but feel amused. I checked the time, 10 minutes to 3, and sold off a tech stock I was holding. Zhao Shuani was overwhelmed with joy and bought the stocks I had sold at a high price. The stock price soared once again. Both the barrage and Zhao Shuani fell into a frenzy. under the guidance of the barrage, Zhao Shuani even pretended to be reserved and went over to the big shot, offering a series of presumptuous advice. It seemed like the big shot was encountering someone with an empty head and an inflated ego for the first time, so he waved his assistant over to shoo the person away. Zhao Shuani left disdainfully and returned to his seat after finishing the phone call. The trader from the Su family returned to his position and saw Zhao Shuani buying a stock that was about to crash. He turned pale and wanted to sell, but Zhao Shuani stopped him, unfortunately. It was too late. The stock price of Pandang suddenly stagnated. The next moment, the stock price plummeted like an avalanche, heading straight for the limit down. The funds invested by the Su family continuously shrank, 1 billion, 50 million, 1 million, down to zero. In just a few minutes, the 2 billion Zhao Shuani had bet went down the drain. He slumped in the chair, his face frighteningly pale. The barrage of comments that had been frantically scrolling suddenly froze. Looking at the extra 100 million in my account, my smile grew even brighter. A sucker giving away money, why not take it? I'm over here happily making 100 million, but Zhao Shuani is in a tough spot. What he lost was the liquid funds from the Su family's accounts. The Su family's traders told Mr. and Mrs. Su everything they did today. It is said that upon hearing this news, Su Jinji, who had just been discharged from the hospital, felt a sharp pain in his heart and fainted again. Su's parents also collapsed in the hospital. The 200 million lost by Zhao Shuani plunged the Su family's company into a state of financial shortage. It also caused the Su family's reputation to plummet, and the previously suppressed scandals resurfaced. Multiple orders were returned, and the shareholders were clamoring to remove Su's father from his position as chairman. Several subsidiaries under the group are also on the verge of bankruptcy. Zhao Shuani hid in the Su family villa, afraid to show his face. He has now become famous in Tian City. A son who squandered his family's fortune made the wealthy in Tianzhi witness a farce of the Su family. But how could I let Zhao Shuani have it easy? There are still some unresolved questions surrounding the accidental deaths of my adoptive parents. I found my adoptive father's younger brother in his hometown and told him that Zhao Shuani was the lost son of the wealthiest family, and that my adoptive parents had died in an accident on the very day Zhao Shuani left. The uncle, who had been raised by my adoptive father, immediately became suspicious upon hearing this. He sought out his police friend and began investigating the truth behind the adoptive father's accidental death. As soon as he obtained evidence that Zhao Shuani had intentionally set the fire to commit murder, he rushed to the Su family villa to live stream and expose Zhao Shuani's true nature. Zhao Shuani never expected that his secret murder could be brought to light again. Panicked, he went to the hospital to seek help from Su's parents. Unfortunately, he didn't know that the people I hired with money had uncovered some more scandals about the Su family, and this time, the scandal involved illegal activities related to organ trafficking. I sent the information I obtained from the journalist to the police station, and soon the Su family was trending on social media again. Hashtag Su Group organ trafficking, hashtag Su Group employee donors, hashtag. A huge uproar erupted online. The Su couple had been searching for a suitable heart donor for Su Jinji all these years. However, Su Jinji had a rare blood type, with only 1,000 people in the country registered with it, and the daughter they gave birth to was not a match for Su Jinji. Unable, they could only search for a heart through some special channels. During this period, the Su couple also discovered the huge profits in organ trading. They secretly started this business. The Su Group has a hospital, said to be specifically for serving the company's employees. Every year, they vigorously recruit fresh graduates and arrange a full-body medical checkup for them before they start their jobs. In reality, they secretly assign a price to each employee. If someone is selected, they orchestrate various accidents to cause the employee's mysterious death, and their organs are then delivered to the hands of the wealthy. It is said that the Su family has already found a compatible heart. The only question is whether Su Jinji, who has been hospitalized twice due to anger, can hold on until the time for the heart transplant. The constant disturbances in the Su family couldn't stop me from continuing my studies. Su hasn't been attending school for a long time because of the Su family's affairs. I sent her a message to show my concern, and she said she was fine. She sends me messages every day without fail, morning, noon, and night. I'm also happy that she's getting closer and closer to me. I just didn't expect that the Su family's involvement in organ trafficking would actually be resolved. The Su couple pinned all the blame on their brother-in-law, a lazy, greedy scoundrel who would do anything for money, the Su couple held a press conference, offering a heartfelt apology and portraying their family as poor victims deceived and misled by their brother-in-law. They spent money again to hire internet trolls, digging up the Su family's charitable activities over the years, such as establishing educational foundations, engaging in public welfare, and making donations, and began to promote them extensively. In an instant, the public opinion shifted. The netizens who had been insulting the Su family changed their tune and began to switch sides. Watching the online comments that were whitewashing the Su family, I reached out to the journalist who had sent me the information. However, I found that their phone was already unreachable, and the last message was an email they had sent me. Little boss, the Su family has already tracked me down. You take care too. My heart skipped a beat. Before I could even think of a solution, I received a call from Zhao Shuani. Yao Sheng, you must be quite pleased with yourself for toying with our Su family, aren't you? You're such a great actor. You almost fooled me. If it weren't for my father discovering that the exposure of the Su family's scandals was related to you, I would never have known that you still retained your memories even after the system changed your identity. You are too vicious, destroying what you can't have. Unfortunately, all your efforts are in vain. The Su family has already found a new backer and will soon make a comeback. Just wait to be trampled under my feet forever. Sure enough, not long after Zhao Shuani finished that triumphant phone call, I learned that the Su family had received an injection of new capital, and their stock price began to rise again. A piece of land they owned was reportedly eyed by a businessman who planned to bid 30 billion for it. Products from several subsidiaries also caught the attention of a foreign company, resulting in a large number of orders. Even the matter of Zhao Shuani's intentional murder was quietly resolved by the Su family. All my efforts seem to have truly gone down the drain. The Su family has come back to life and now has the strength to start settling scores with those who exposed the information. Zhao Shuani has repeatedly targeted me, trying to find a handle to use against me. My involvement in the Qin family's investment was exposed by him, and he used a contract that the Qin family couldn't refuse to kick me out. He then used the Su family's influence to force Noble First High School to expel me, even revoking my student status. For a time, I was almost completely isolated and helpless. Young Master Qin tried to protect me, but was suppressed by her brother and sent abroad. She wanted to take me with her when she left, but I refused. The Su family's affairs are not yet resolved. I cannot go abroad. I racked my brains to recall the illegal scandals the Su family was involved in during my past life, wanting to expose them once again. However, Zhao Shuani was in high spirits, sending me many photos of shopping at luxury stores, as well as pictures of the Su family happily dining and discussing business with an old foreign man. There were even intimate photos of him holding hands with Su Yu. Yao Sheng, don't think you can ruin my image by speaking ill of me in front of Xiao Yu. To be honest, Xiao Yu is already with me. However, I noticed a dark purple bruise on Su Yu's forehead, hidden by her bangs, which looked quite striking. I sent a message to ask Su Yu about it, but Su Yu always evaded the main issue. Sheng, I'm doing great, don't overthink it. I have some family matters to deal with during this time, so I can't return to school. Remember to eat well and go to bed early on your own, but things will be resolved soon. Sheng, you must wait for me. But my heart grew increasingly uneasy. I found the hospital where the Su family was staying. However, before I could enter, a large group of reporters carrying cameras rushed toward the Su family's ward. On the way, I overheard the excited voices of the reporters. Hurry, hurry, hurry. The Su family's daughter has publicly exposed the shady dealings of the Su group online. Let's go quickly, or we'll miss the chance to interview the Su family. The fake Su heiress has reported them. I immediately opened my phone and, sure enough, saw online that Su Yu had released an audio recording and video of the Su couple threatening her uncle to take the blame. There was also a stack of evidence showing the Su family's collusion with officials to acquire land at low prices and carry out violent demolitions. Evidence of Su Jinji violating commercial laws by stealing core information from other companies, and even a pile of documents exposing Su's father for falsifying charitable activities and luring female students into power for sex transactions. As soon as this revelation came out, the wealthy backer that the Su family had worked so hard to secure immediately withdrew their investment, taking with them the last of the Su family's liquid assets on the books. The unsold products piled up by the Su family's subsidiaries could not be sold, and the workers, whose wages were in arrears, also came to the hospital to cause trouble. The Su family's newly cleared reputation was once again dragged into the mud. Was all of this done by Suyu, before I could even think? I saw Zhao Shuani clutching his chest as he appeared in the elevator, his face pale. He took in the chaotic scene before him and turned in a panic, trying to leave, but he was spotted by sharp-eyed reporters. Mr. Su Jinji is over there. Quick, interview him. A swarm of reporters crammed into the elevator, leaving Zhao Shuani gasping for breath before he collapsed to the floor. Meanwhile, the barrage of comments above his head was scrolling frantically. Oh no, the male lead just switched identities with the villainous big brother and hasn't even had time to enjoy it properly. How could the company collapse like this? Holy crap. I heard from these reporters that the company's scandals were exposed by the female lead under her real name. How dare she? She's pushing the male lead to the brink. Wow. With what you just said upstairs, don't you think it's strange that the male lead suddenly swapped identities with the villain's older brother? She already agreed to be with the male lead, so why would he foolishly take on the sickly identity of the older brother? This is the last chance to swap. Upon waking up, Zhao Shuani saw the content of the bullet comments and realized he had been tricked by Suyu. He wanted to explain that he wasn't Su Jinji, but when he opened his mouth, he could only offer a feeble defense. I'm not Su Jinji, I'm not. The reporters grew even more excited. Zhao Shuani was lifted onto the hospital bed by the medical staff. Seeing me in the crowd, he struggled to reach out, wanting me to explain. I just gave him a cold glance and turned to leave. The Su family's matter was quickly resolved. Their company was shut down, and Mr. and Mrs. Su were sent to prison. Su Jinji, whose identity was swapped by Zhao Shuani, was also imprisoned for intentional homicide. The whole family is neatly gathered, ready to descend into hell together. Online, the Su family was thoroughly exposed. Suyu was also exposed for scandals involving connections with high society elites. Her various flirtatious photos were also exposed. Netizens gradually shifted their stance, with many unsightly comments freely insulting Suyu. Yet I saw the side of Suyu, in the bloom of her youth, surrounded by vulgar men, forced to put on a smile. When I saw Suyu again, she had lost a lot of weight, but her gaze was gentle. Shang, will you hate me? None of those were things I wanted to do, but in the Su family, I am just a tool. A beautiful gift. Whenever someone benefits the Su family, they push me out. Shang, will you look down on me? I never knew the Su family would send their daughter out as a gift. My heart aching, I held Suyu's hand and said, Xiaoyu, you're not wrong. I will never look down on you. You're amazing, so brave, getting back at everyone who bullied you. You're wonderful, you're the best. Xiaoyu. Suyu was moved to tears by my words. Shang, I'm going abroad. The other members of the Su family won't let me off easily. Would you be willing to go abroad with me to study, to start fresh in a new place where no one knows us? Suyu cautiously suggested. I remained silent for a few seconds. It seemed there was nothing in the country worth holding me back. I genuinely regarded Suyu as a younger sister, and I was still a bit uneasy about her going abroad, so I agreed. Our procedures were handled very quickly. I boarded the plane with Suyu, gazing out at the deep blue sky, my heart feeling incredibly calm. Suyu and I had finally escaped the quagmire of the Su family, like two butterflies reborn from their cocoons, ready to pursue our own spring. Next is the extra chapter, Suyu's perspective. My name is Suyu, a Suyu who has been reborn. In my previous life, I always knew I was not the true daughter of the Su family. The real child of the Su family, who caused Mrs. Su to have a difficult birth, was cruelly abandoned by the Su family after being born with organs that did not match Su Jinji's. My existence was merely because Su Jinji wanted a doll-like little sister. In the Su family, I was not allowed to have my own hobbies. I could only accompany my sickly brother as he moved from one hospital to another. My brother has a very bad temper. One moment he would gently tell me stories. The next moment he would grab my neck and curse me for being alive and well. During my time in the Su family, I lived in constant fear. At the age of 10, I began to develop, and my appearance grew increasingly beautiful. Mrs. Su's gaze towards me shifted from disgust to scrutiny. My wardrobe filled with many pretty little dresses, and the storybooks on my desk were replaced with cosmetics. Mr. Su took me to various cocktail parties, where I mingled among men of all kinds. I tried to resist, tearing the dress to shreds and smashing the makeup, but all I got in return was a beating and insults. They stripped me naked and locked me in the basement. surrounded by cameras that clearly recorded my breakdown and despair. They even saved it all as leverage to force me. I also tried to call the police, but before I could, they discovered me and gave me another beating. I tried to accept my fate, letting Mrs. Sue push me out, but at a charity banquet, when I was forced to drink and taken back to the hotel, I was desperate, crying and begging the people around me to save me, but they held their wine glasses, indifferent and detached, ignoring my despair. Then Shang Shang appeared in the underground parking lot. She chased away the man who was forcing me with a shovel and took me back to her home. She wiped off the heavy makeup on my face and helped me change out of the tight, revealing dress. She gave me water to drink, placed a strawberry-flavored fruit candy in my mouth, and comforted me. "Don't cry," she asked if I wanted to call the police. I shook my head in refusal. It wasn't just a few people who hurt me, but a whole group. I wanted to take revenge myself. When I returned to the Sue family, Shang Shang gave me a jar of origami cranes she had folded herself and 2 pieces of fruit candy. Later, I learned how to navigate and maneuver. The men who wanted to tear off my skirt became stepping stones for my climb upward. Because of me, the Sue family received substantial investments and rose to become the wealthiest in Tian City. And that brother who always looked down on me also fell at my feet. Later, Shang Shang returned. She is the real child that the Sue family casually abandoned. She doesn't remember me and harbors a hint of hostility toward me, yet she is truly kind. At the banquet, when someone harassed me, she stepped in to protect me. When she learned of my brother's inappropriate thoughts about me, she secretly warned me, but Cushing didn't know. All of this was intentional on my part. I deliberately seduced Su Jinji. I married Su Jinji as I wished, only to be confined by him in a separate courtyard, in secret. However, I was gathering evidence of the Sue family's illegal activities. Just as I was about to expose all the evidence, I heard the news that she was stabbed to death by Zhao Shuani at the college celebration banquet. I was furious and regretful for not dealing with the Sue family sooner. Later, when Zhao Shuani came to see me under the guise of the Chang family's young master, I saw the bullet comments above his head. It turned out that I was the tragic heroine in a novel, and Shang Shang was the stepping stone supporting female character for Zhao Shuani. Zhao Shuani possesses an exchange system. He killed Shang Shang because he had fallen for me. Suppressing the anger in my heart, I no longer resisted Zhao Shuani's seduction. I also used his abilities to trick him into swapping identities with Su Jinji, just as he was filled with hope. I exposed the scandals of the Su family and other families to the police. The Su family, along with all the other families, were thoroughly investigated. Zhao Shuani was so furious that he suffered a sudden heart attack and died after taking the medicine I had swapped. I sold off the Sue family's assets and went abroad, only to wake up one day and find myself back on the day Shang Shang returned to the Sue family. But this time, it wasn't Shang Shang who came back, it was Zhao Shuani. At that moment, I knew that Shang Shang had also returned. Sure enough, I heard she had connections with the Qin family and got into Noble First High School. She also secretly gathered incriminating information about the Sue family. Preparing for revenge, I smiled, disguised myself as a journalist, and handed the materials to her. Then, I secretly swapped Su Jinji's special medication, being deskmates with Shang Shang, helping her investigate Zhao Shuani, step by step, help Shang Shang bring down the Sue family. Unfortunately, the Sue family is like an unkillable cockroach, actually managing to trace it back to Shang Shang. They even want to hire a hitman to kill her. I couldn't bear it, so I deliberately sought out a fraudulent company from abroad, making the Sue family mistakenly believe they could make a comeback. Then I seduced Zhao Shuani, making him switch identities with Su Jinji. Finally, I exposed everything under my real name, plunging the Sue family into an irrecoverable downfall. I succeeded. My show of weakness softened Xing Xing's heart, making her agree to go abroad with me. I transferred 2 sums of 5 million each to the Sue family's stock trader and the journalist investigating the Sue family's organ trafficking. I told them the crisis was over. Watching the plane slowly take off, I smiled. Great, now Shang Shang and I are about to start a new life. What are your thoughts after hearing this story? Feel free to share your feelings in the comments section. Now, let's begin a new story.